So number one, a very important property, I'll just star these properties. Number one, this is known as the periodic property. Periodic property. So the sine function is periodic about 360. Means, what does it mean? Sine in the angle, if you add or subtract 360, you always get sine theta. So don't get confused by this, kids. Look at this. Take your scientific calculator in your hand and just write sine, and in the angle, say if you take 30, take an example. I'll give you an example. Take theta is equal to 30 degree and first find sine 30. Then when you will find this, then find sine 30 plus 360 and then find sine 30 minus 360. You will notice that all these three are the same. Means if you add 360 in the angle of sine or subtract 360, if you go negative way in the 360 or positive way in the 360, it will always be the same. So the sine function is periodic. Second thing, very important property, this I'll be sharing later. You will come to know the importance of this while solving your sums. Look at this. This is known as the odd property, or we call it odd property, and in some cases it is also known as the negative angle property. So either way you can use it, and this is a very important property. You will come to know its importance later. Now look at this. Sine of negative theta is minus sine theta. And for this, the simplest case, just take your scientific calculator, take this angle 30, write sine in the bracket, scientific calculator, write minus 30. You will see that it will be minus 0.5. So it's then find sine 30 and multiply it with negative, you'll get the same thing. This is known as the odd property. I'll talk about this importance later. Now another very important property, this proof is not clear in your course, in your A-level books. You will come to know its importance, but right now I'll just tell you that this is known as the symmetric property of sine, and this is also the translation property, but still you do not know, most of you, what are transformations. So when you study transformations, you'll come to know what is such translation. Translation means shifting from this to this. This is known as translation. So when you subtract 180 minus theta, you subtract the angle from 180, it always gets sine theta. This is known as the symmetric property of sine. So this property is very important. Again, take theta is equal to 30 degree and you'll come to know that 180 minus 30 will be the same, means sine 150 will be equal to sine 30. This is again very important property, and this will be used in solving your equations. So that was all that you needed to know about sine function. Secondly, I'll just make a quick round and I'll just tell you what is a cosine function. Cosine function. Now look at this. Again, cosine functions are from -1 to 1. The reason I'm just making things quick is because my cameraman here is in a bit trouble, so he needs some break. So don't worry about that. This won't take much time. You can always reverse the video and get the important facts, the previous facts. So again, this is from -1 to 1, means put any value for theta, whether 1000, 3000, 1, 2, whatever. Sine will be from -1 to 1. It cannot exceed this. So again, the sketch of the cosine function. So the cos function also, I am restricting the domain from 360 to 60. You might be wondering, why am I taking it from -360 to +360? You can take it up to anywhere if you want to, or either you can make it from 0 to 360. It's up to you. I'll just put a 1 and a -1. Again, the y-axis is f of theta and the horizontal axis is theta. Now put 90, 180, 270 and 360. again minus 90, minus 180, minus 270, and minus 360. Now look at this. Again, you can take your scientific calculator. On 0, cos is 1, on 90 it's 0, on 180 it's -1, 270 it's 0, and 360 it's 1. And on this is a very important property of cosine function. Look at this. This function is symmetrical about the y-axis. I'll tell you what does it mean. Just see the curve first. Look at this. This function is symmetrical, means y-axis is its line of symmetry. You can see along the y-axis this curve is the same. Again, the period of the curve is can be clearly seen. Look at this, 360. After every 360, cosine becomes again the same. 360, it becomes the same. 360, 360, 360, so on. It will go like this. So again, I'll talk about the periodic property. You already know it, you can focus on it. I'll not write it now, I'll write periodic property, and you can see, and you can even check it on your scientific calculator, that cos, if you add or subtract 360 from its angle, this will become again cos theta. You can take any angle and just add 360 first and then subtract 360 first, and you'll come to see that it is the same. Now the odd property, this is an important fact also. The odd property of cos is basically also its symmetric property, and I'll tell you what is symmetric property. Just wait. Look at this. Cos minus theta is cos theta. Now focus on the curve. Look at this. Means cosine 90 is 0, cosine negative 90 is 0, cos 180 is -1, cos minus 180 is -1. So means whether you put the angle positive or negative, cos is not affected by that. So the symmetrical property means basically that both sides are same. Same here, just like focus on this symmetrical property of sine function. Look at this. If you subtract 180 minus theta, if you put this, subtract any given value of theta from 180 and then find that same angle, for this same angle sine theta, you'll see that both sides are same. So this is a symmetrical property, and here the odd property, when I'll just summarize my lesson, I'll give you the complete detail of it. So last function is tan. My cameraman is okay? Okay.